Hi there, I am meteorologist Michaela Smith. Things are looking a little bit differently today just because we do have a potential winter storm, or we have our winter storm that is about to impact parts of Oklahoma, Texas. So we are taking precautions at the office and we are safely at home. But I still want to give you guys your forecast for today. So let's jump right in. Major winter storm starts today. We have over 160 million Americans that are bracing for these big winter impacts that we're talking about. So a lot of just winter alerts that you're about to see coming in the next several days. We also have dangerous cold on top of that. The coldest air of the season arrives really starting today. It started to creep in from the north last night. Now it's here for a lot of places. Tulsa, Oklahoma City, already below freezing, and that freezing line is continuing to drop down to the south, closer to the Red River and Dallas. And then we also have a chance for coastal weekend storms, both Saturday and Sunday. So we'll talk about those storms, especially by Sunday. First, I want to give you a current look across the country. You can see where that low pressure system is kind of bringing some of these winter weather conditions that we're seeing. Some rain right now in parts of New Mexico and Texas. So the cold front hasn't made it there just yet. That's why they're just seeing rainfall. But as we go towards this afternoon and especially this evening, that is when that's going to shift over to seeing more freezing rain, sleet, and seeing some snowfall. So as we click this forward, you can see up to the northeast right now, maybe a little bit of lake effect snow happening closer to the Great Lakes. Really not a ton of activity going on. Down more to the south, you're seeing some rainfall in North and South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, seeing a little bit of rain. And then as you get closer to the middle of the U.S., there's some snow already happening in parts of Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado. That is not the big event that is starting. That is coming in again in a couple of hours. A lot of that moisture that you see further to the south in Texas and New Mexico, that's what we're really watching for as we head towards the rest of today, and then especially by tomorrow. West Coast, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, things are looking pretty dry. But I do want to show you this with some of the rain on it right now. Again, where you can see it is just raining to the south. So parts of Texas, New Mexico. The freezing line hasn't made it there yet. It's 47 currently in Dallas. Oklahoma City, though, you're at 28. So we are well past 32 now, well past that freezing line. And then you can see areas to the north. Kansas City, you're already at 3 degrees. So that cold air is definitely seeking in. And you can see areas to the north, Minneapolis, woo, negative 12 right now. That's not the wind chill. That is the current temperature. So you can see we also have a ton of winter advisories across the U.S. You saw our post a little bit earlier on, about an hour ago. We were talking about how there were so many winter alerts here that this was kind of similar to February of 2021, if you remember that winter storm. And this now has even been upgraded since we posted this about an hour ago. So we wouldn't be shocked now, maybe counties under winter storm warning. So that extends from New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, all the way up to the Northeast. Now we could be seeing maybe more counties at least under winter storm warnings than we did in February 2021. That just shows you again how big and powerful this storm is. To the north, really the biggest threat is going to be the cold, though. Extreme cold warning across parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota. That's because the temperatures, but also the wind chill, are going to be sitting between maybe negative 30 to negative 60 degrees for that feel like temperature. That is deadly cold that they're talking about for the north. So seeing lots of really just extreme cold and cold weather advisories there. Further to the south, that's where we have our winter storm warning. That's in the pink that we've kind of been showing you the last several days. Areas that are going to be more, let's see if I can use my mouse and kind of highlight this over for you. I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing, but more of that dark purple color right here, that's an ice storm warning. That's where we're expecting significant icing. So the northern parts of Louisiana, eastern Texas, northern parts of Mississippi, Tennessee, and then another area closer to South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, that's going to be that ice storm warning. So that's where we're expecting, again, crippling ice storm, power outages. You really need to be prepared. Where we have this lighter blue, that's going to be the winter weather watch. Our winter storm watch. We also have winter weather advisories, and then again, cold weather advisories. So a lot going on across the U.S. right now, just very impactful storm in general. Really quickly, before we jump into all the winter weather details, I want to show you that the winter storm arrives today. But we have a really cool phenomenon that could be happening this afternoon. So what you're seeing here outlined in red is that's a general thunderstorm risk that we're looking at, just going through the rest of this afternoon into this evening and overnight. But this extends all the way back up into Oklahoma and Arkansas. So areas to the north, again, I just showed you, they're well below freezing at this point. So we're not worried or really concerned at that point Someone's watching from Arkansas. Perfect timing, Fayetteville, Arkansas. We're not worried necessarily about like severe weather for you. You get to see something cool. You could see thunder, sleet, or thunder snow. So that means there's enough convective potential that we're talking about thunderstorms, but because the temperatures are so cold, now you're seeing that snow or sleet, but you're still seeing the lightning, you're still hearing the thunder. So that's a really cool phenomenon, again, that doesn't happen very often. So that extends all the way up into Arkansas, North Texas, Oklahoma. The further to the south you go, San Angelo, San Antonio, down just outside of Corpus Christi, that's the chance for actual thunderstorms for today. Then the area shifts a little bit more to the east tomorrow. Winter impacts are ongoing at this point on your Saturday. Thunderstorms are still going to be possible to the south, but as you go more towards the north, you're at that border of Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas. That's where, again, we have a chance to see thunder sleet or freezing rain. So, kind of thunder rain, if you will, but it's in the form of freezing rain, not actual storm. So, that'll be something that we watch for Saturday. Then by Sunday, we do have a marginal risk for severe storms. So that's a level 1 out of 5. And that's going to include parts of New Orleans. You can see down into the southern parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and then Florida, the Florida Panhandle. So that will be for Sunday. And it's just as this line, as the storm system moves more towards the east, it's going to give us a chance to see maybe a few isolated strong to severe storms Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening and the overnight hours as you head into your Monday. Very isolated chances. We're not talking about any crazy severe weather here, but I do want to just go ahead and point that out to you that by the end of this weekend, we could be talking about some storms for the coast, more snow for areas up towards the north. After that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, into next week, you're kind of getting the story here. We're going back to, again, not really expecting more severe weather. The weather starts to stay a little bit quiet. For the significant hail model today, I want to show you just areas down in far southwestern Texas and closer to right around the Texas-Mexico border. That's where there's going to be a chance for hail today. And then you can see they're still showing up some areas maybe tomorrow. A lot of that has that storm system moving well towards the east. Chipper said is watching from Dallas. Dallas, you are about to get that freezing rain tonight. I hope that you have your plans in place, Chipper, that you have been watching our forecast all week long, even though I know that you have been. And I hope that you are ready to go because you know after you get towards really this afternoon, this evening, the freezing rain and the sleet is really going to start to hammer in. Someone said, Bama, Alabama, you are going to be, depending on where you are in Alabama, if you're more towards the north, you're going to talk about that ice potential, really that ice and sleet potential. Further to the south, you're going to be, again, seeing more of those thunderstorms possible Saturday and Sunday. All right, let's zoom in really quickly for the significant hail model. So again, this is around 4 p.m. today. 8 o'clock this evening, a lot of those more orange, yellowy colors that we'd want to see to say, hey, maybe there's a chance to see some hail. It's going to be south of the Texas border into parts of Mexico, but areas that you're seeing that white could indicate to us maybe a little bit of small hail will be possible. And then as you head towards Saturday, a lot of that starts to shift more towards eastern Texas, Louisiana. Again, not really seeing those bright yellow colors, just a little bit of white and gray, showing that you're talking about maybe pocket change size hail and some of those stronger storms. Someone said, watching from Houston, hoping the ice won't be too bad. I really do think in Houston that you guys are going to miss out on most of the icing. We're going to play the forecast for you here in just a second to show you like the radar and the timing and everything. So stick around and watch that for sure. But I do think a lot of what you're going to miss out on will be just the freezing rain and the ice. I think a lot of that will be just a little bit more towards the north of you. But Saturday evening into Sunday, that's really your timing that we're going to have to watch for closely. Tristan said, how is Omaha? How is Nebraska? We'll show you that here in just a second as well, too. Let me just finish getting through the significant hail forecast or just the hail forecast in general. So for today, I kept it very low. We're talking about San Angelo, Del Rio, San Antonio. You could see maybe up to quarter-size hail. Again, it's some stronger storms, and that's going to be very limited, if anything. That risk is very low, though we're talking about severe weather for tonight into tomorrow morning for that hail forecast. And I just spoiled it for you. Maximum hail size, it's a quarter. It's around an inch. Really not expecting anything crazy, again, for the hail as we go through the rest of this evening into tomorrow. All right, let's look at the future radar now. I have a lot of people asking from different areas. So this is right around 2:30 this afternoon. Seeing still some of that rain down in Dallas, back towards West Texas, New Mexico. But you're also starting to see that pink color, too, in the Texas Panhandle, far southwestern Oklahoma. That is going to be the freezing rain and the sleet that we are watching for. Up areas in Nebraska, you may be seeing some just very light snow flurries. I don't really think you're getting any crazy amount of snowfall at this point. By about 8, 9 o'clock this evening, now you really start to see the snow totals jumping up, just the snow in general, about Oklahoma City to the north, so through Kansas, getting closer to that border of Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to miss out on a lot of this snow, actually. This is Friday. This is tonight. This is around again 8, 9 o'clock. So you really start to see where the snow line is. Areas to the south, again, you're seeing that sleet, freezing rain mixture. And then Dallas, you're right along that edge of, again, seeing more cold rain or freezing rain at that point. Then once we get to tomorrow morning and really the overnight hours, that's when we start to see that transition for Dallas, freezing rain, sleet. Now that's going to start for you. Arkansas, you're going to be kind of right along that edge too, that you're seeing areas in middle Arkansas, freezing rain, sleet to the south, areas to the north, northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, you're right along that border. Little Rock too, it's really going to be just a couple degrees difference based on if you're going to see more snow or more sleet. So Little Rock really is just like right along that line. If you're more in Fayetteville, more in like that Bentonville area, you should be closer to more of those snow totals versus seeing the sleet and the freezing rain. I also do want to point out, though, if you look just to the west of Houston, this is again right around midnight, 1 a.m. tonight. That's where you're seeing some of those storms. Those storm chances are going to be possible. I don't think, again, it's going to be anything crazy or significant. Then we head into 5:30 tomorrow. You're still seeing more widespread snow at this point. You're extending into Missouri now, parts of Tennessee, the northern parts of Mississippi, Alabama. You're starting to see some of that freezing rain, some snow possible, extending into the far southern parts of Illinois and Dallas. Again, at this point, you by tomorrow morning will be seeing the freezing rain and you'll be seeing the sleet at that point. Then as you continue this further into tomorrow, this is about 9:30 in the morning. Now you're still seeing more of that spreading eastward. You get into Saturday afternoon, you're seeing more of that snow to the north. Now, if you're in Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, you're seeing the snow, you're seeing the freezing rain. Tennessee, you're seeing a lot of freezing rain and sleet at this point around 6 p.m. tomorrow. And you see for areas like Oklahoma City, Dallas, you're getting a break. There's a break in the storms or in the snow potential, middle of the day tomorrow. But you look back towards the west, the Texas Panhandle, New Mexico, that's the next round, the final round that's coming, and that's going to arrive late Saturday night into Sunday, and that's really what's going to give kind of that last push, the bulk of that snow. So if you get to midday Saturday and you're like, hey, this is not, they promised me 9, 10 inches. I'm looking at about 4 right now. Trust me, you're going to see a big, heavy band of snow coming Saturday night into Sunday. For these winter storm timelines, I want to show you your impacts, kind of when those will start. So Friday, if you're anywhere from really just that pink line to the purple line, that's today. I hope you made all those plans previously. We've been talking all week long about this storm, so I hope you are ready to go to be in your spot by tonight and just to kind of hunker down throughout the weekend. If you're purple line to blue line, that's Saturday. So that means you have maybe some chances still today. If you need to go do that final run to the grocery store, you need to make sure that you have fuel in your car, maybe get some wood for your house. You still have some chances today. Then you get on the other side of that blue line, and that's when those really big impacts start to arrive more by Sunday. This is a different model I'm going to show you really quickly. The one we just kind of walked through very closely step by step was the HERV. This is now the graph model that I'm going to show you. So this is showing around 5, 6 o'clock this evening. You're seeing some of that snow, some of that freezing rain, Oklahoma City. Dallas, again, this model is keeping you just seeing rain at this point. But then as we transition further into tonight, that's when you'll start to see those changes. And like I showed you earlier, you're getting closer to about San Antonio. This is right around that midnight time frame. You do see some storms down there. Again, I think the severe weather potential is limited, but there could be a few stronger to severe storms that some small hail up to about quarter size could be possible. And at midnight, you can see this model is bringing just straight freezing rain and sleet to Dallas, across Little Rock, portions of Arkansas, down back towards West Texas too, Midland, Odessa, Abilene. You're seeing some of that freezing rain, sleet at this point, and then snow up to the north. You get to around 8 o'clock tomorrow for your Saturday. Now a lot of that heavy stuff starts to move to the east. Memphis, you're right along that border of seeing snow or freezing rain. Areas to the north, Nashville, you're seeing snow with this current model. Northern Alabama, let me try that again. Northern Alabama and northern Mississippi, you are seeing freezing rain and sleet with this model. Then, like we said, you get a break. This one's also showing you a break mid-Saturday. So if you're Dallas, Oklahoma City, some parts of the Texas Panhandle too, you might see a smaller break. Your break's going to be a little bit earlier on in the day Saturday, and then that next big wave arrives. This one is much more aggressive, very widespread. And whoever was watching in Houston earlier, this is what I want to show you. This is Sunday at 3 a.m. You see this line of storms that starts? That's what's going to give us the storm chances a little bit later on Sunday, like I showed you. But depending on exactly where that freezing line is, this is trying to bring some sleet and some freezing rain down closer to Houston going into Sunday morning. It's also bringing really heavy rainfall, so it's going to be a very fine line that we watch between storms and freezing rain. And with you seeing some of these yellows and these red colors, that means if it was to be freezing rain, it's going to be a lot of it. It's going to be a ton, just absolutely pouring. This is not going to be very light. This is going to be a very heavy event that you're talking about. So that'll be 2 for those sleet totals. When you really start to get this kind of convective energy that you're seeing heavy rainfall totals, if this was to be rain, but now it's sleet because it's frozen, you're going to see a lot more sleet piling up very, very quickly. But sleet is different from hail. So it's not just going to be like a hailstorm falling on you. It is frozen from falling in the atmosphere, shallow layer. And then when it gets back towards the surface, it has just enough time that those raindrops are freezing into little ice pellets. So that's going to be sleet versus hail, is going up and down in a cloud until it gets too heavy and then it falls out. So different types of precipitation. They seem very similar, but this would be sleet that would be falling for you heading into Sunday. And then there's that line of storms from Atlanta down towards the coast that we talked about Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening into Monday. This is the area that we're watching for maybe a brief spin up tornado possible, some strong winds, and maybe some small hail. That's going to be Sunday's threat. Someone says, how long till it gets to Mississippi? If I looked at the graphic earlier, we could go back to, if I want to show it really quickly, here we go. Mississippi, you have until tomorrow, basically. So we have today, we have Friday, and it's areas to the west of you. But by Saturday, really, Mississippi, you need to be ready to go, ready for this winter event to start. Because then at that point, it's too late. It's going to be early tomorrow morning that some of these impacts really start on Saturday. All right, we just went through this, so we're going to skip that. Now I want to show you snowfall forecast, some of these totals. And I want to start off by saying here at HailTrace, we went conservative with this. You've probably seen some crazy models, some crazy snow totals that have been very extreme. We did not do that. We did not pick any extreme totals here. We kind of went more conservative so that we could be surprised and happy, if things turn out well. But just so many uncertain things with winter weather and with those sleet totals adding in, we wanted to kind of give you a better idea of the snow. So areas in white up to an inch of snow, maybe a little sleet mixing in is definitely likely. You get to this more light blue color, and that's saying 6 inches of snow is very likely. Getting to 6 inches shouldn't be a problem. Dark purple, 8+ inches possible. So you're well past the 6 inches now. Getting to 8 should still be a cakewalk, but that doesn't mean it's 8+. So seeing some of those 10, 12, 14, 16 even maybe, that's kind of pushing it, but seeing some of those way higher totals, especially in some heavier bands of snow, is definitely not out of the realm of possibility. The biggest concern with this storm, like we've been saying for the last several days, is going to be the icing. Snow, yes, a lot of snow could still cause major impacts, but nothing like ice. Ice can cause significant impacts. You're talking about major power outages. You're talking about bridges, overpasses, all those things becoming very slick. You're talking about, again, people losing power. It's not going to be just a couple of hours. It could be days if we see this kind of icing. Power poles snap. They just explode. That could cause a fire risk. Trees fall down, potentially on houses. I mean, this is a really big concern as we go throughout the rest of this week into this weekend. So where you see that dark purple color, areas from Dallas to Arkansas, northern parts of Mississippi, Memphis, that kind of southwestern parts of Tennessee, and then that area back towards Atlanta, North Carolina, South Carolina. Those are the areas I showed you too that they have those ice warnings. So they're saying, hey, we are expecting an ice storm. You got to be prepared. You got to be home. You can't be on the road. Have a generator, have backup plans, but the ice is coming. And you can see that right here too, again, where we're kind of expecting those ice totals. As you get more to that hot pink color, it's saying ice is possible, maybe a little bit of freezing rain, some sleet. It's not, a major concern. And then that kind of middle pink color that's saying up to a 1/4 inch is possible, which could still cause major issues. But really, it's when you get to that 1/2 inch that you really start to see some kind of big changes when it comes to those ice totals. All right, future temperatures. Really quickly, I want to go through this. I'm jumping ahead after the weekend into next week, just because I want to point out to you that this is all going to happen this weekend. It's not going to get back above freezing. So this is not going to melt quickly. This is not going to be like, okay, it rains, freezing rain, sleet, snow, whatever, Saturday, Sunday, and then it's done. This is Monday morning at 6 a.m., seeing 0 degrees in Oklahoma City, 6 in Memphis, 19 in Birmingham, -4 in St. Louis. So very cold temperatures to start Monday. You get to Monday afternoon and you can see temperatures are still well below freezing. Birmingham, you're at 30. Shreveport, you're barely above freezing at 35. Dallas, you were not above freezing. You were at 30. Memphis, you're at 13. Oklahoma City, you're at 10. St. Louis, you're at 6. So a lot of these areas about to see a lot of the snowfall will not be above freezing on Monday. Tuesday morning, it's also going to be extremely cold. Now, Tuesday afternoon, some of us are going to have a chance to get back above freezing. Memphis right now, you are not. Oklahoma City, you are not. But Dallas, you are. Birmingham, you are. Other areas, you will be. So you'll start to see some things thawing out by Tuesday. Then you go to Wednesday morning, it's really cold again. But then Wednesday afternoon, people who didn't get above freezing on Tuesday will likely see that chance on Wednesday. Even then, it'll be a very close call. I mean, Oklahoma City, you're sitting at 33. Freezing is 32. How much snow do you really think you're going to melt at 33 versus 32? Probably not much. And then after that, another round of cold air is going to move in Thursday, and that's going to drop those temperatures back below freezing Thursday and Friday. So for our roofers, if you're watching this, when can you get back to work after these impacts? Well, areas to the south in the yellow, depending on, again, how much ice and sleet they get, you're looking at Tuesday. Temperatures will come back above freezing at that point. That doesn't mean, Sunday, Monday, after the rain and the storms move out, you won't see some sunshine, and that could melt a little bit of things. But with the temperatures being so cold, it's really going to be a struggle to get out there even by Tuesday. Areas a little bit more to the north in that orange, you're talking about Wednesday. And then if you're in that red, it could be up to 7 days. Again, some of us barely above freezing on Wednesday. It's not going to melt too much. And then we plunge right back below freezing Thursday, Friday, even into next weekend as well. And there's also a chance next weekend for a little bit more snow. This is over a week away. Do not take this to the bank. But I just want to show you, hey, there's a chance that we could be talking about more snow next weekend. It would be really crazy to have back-to-back winter storms in the south. That's not out of the realm of possibilities, though. This is Thursday at 9 a.m. It's more kind of along the East Coast that you're seeing some of the snowfall. But then we get to Friday morning. Now you're seeing Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma. Again, chance for some snow on Friday. You get to Friday afternoon, still seeing some of that snowfall, but now you're in Dallas and Louisiana too. You get to Friday night late, Arkansas, Dallas, Louisiana. Now it's the south side of Mississippi and Alabama. It's going to be the north side with this storm. This one's trying to bring it to the south side that you're talking about potential snow next weekend. Again, this is Friday night heading into Saturday. Someone said, how many inches will Mississippi get probably of snow? If you're in northern Mississippi, I don't think you're going to get a ton of snowfall. I mean, going back to the graphic that we have showing for snowfall, you're right along that sleet, freezing rain line. I think that's going to be more of a likelihood if you're in northern Mississippi that you're seeing sleet and freezing rain. Snow, you may be seeing 1 to 3 inches. I don't think you're going to see those crazy totals in some other locations, that are talking about 8+ inches of snow. I just don't think that's going to be possible in Mississippi. For this storm, again, you could be seeing more snow by next week. So this is Friday night. Then you go into Saturday morning now. Again, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, all seeing snow possibly even by next week. And that goes down to Florida. It already snowed in Florida this winter. It's showing you that this could be a possibility next weekend as well. Areas last year, like New Orleans, they had a crazy historic snowstorm. This is trying to make it snow in New Orleans on the beach a week from now. Am I telling you for sure this is going to happen? No. This is just one model that's showing this, but it's very, very continuously showing this. So I want to give you a heads up. We could be talking about back-to-back winter storms for just this winter, just literally within a week. We could be talking about 2 major winter storms for the South, which are areas that aren't typically used to seeing this kind of weather. So that's why you really see people, they kind of make fun, they poke at the South. Our infrastructure is not set up for these kind of things. We don't have the pipes that are far below ground. We don't have all these different situations that would help us to maybe have power outages not happen and stuff like that. I mean, it's very different to the north. The north are used to the snow. They're prepared for the snow. It's not like that to the south. So you get a snow system like this, you get back-to-back ones, and that's really detrimental to these areas to the south. Dangerous cold is incoming too. We talked about that at the beginning of the forecast. Here's a look at today, well below average temperatures. Then you get to Saturday, and most of the U.S. is going to be below average for tomorrow. By Sunday, you're still seeing well above average temperatures, except for Florida. Florida is holding on really strong to being above average, actually, so they're not going to see some of that cold until Monday. Then by Monday, that's when the cold finally seeps in for Florida. Tuesday, you're staying pretty chilly. Wednesday, you're staying chilly again. And then, like I said, that next front's going to arrive Thursday into Friday, along with that next chance for snow. That's going to drop some really cold temperatures by next week. Here's a look at tonight. -19 in Minneapolis, -12 in Bismarck, 23 in Oklahoma City. So cold temperatures. By tomorrow morning, you were below freezing in Dallas, which is why you're talking about freezing rain or sleet at that point. Memphis, you were below freezing as well. Shreveport, you're below freezing. Northern Mississippi, northern Alabama. So that's why you're going to see maybe that transition from sleet to snow possible. I do think a lot of it still will be sleet just because there might be a little bit of a warm layer right above you. Even if it's colder at the surface, there could be just enough warm air above you that you're seeing Snowflakes falling, they melt, and then they get right back to the surface, and they have just enough time again to melt into those little pellets. So it's falling asleep, but it's not going to be cold all the way up. You have to have cold from the upper in the atmosphere all the way to the surface to have heavy snowfall, and it just might not be like that for some of those locations. Saturday night, there's that freezing line past Shreveport, but in Houston, San Antonio, you are still above freezing. Then you drop below freezing close to Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, you are still going to be chilly in the 30s, but you are not below freezing. Then you get to Monday morning, extremely cold temperatures. You're below freezing all the way to Corpus Christi. In New Orleans, everyone, again, is going to be very cold to start your Monday. Then you go to Monday afternoon. Tuesday, I just showed you this. Again, it's going to stay very cold into next week. So be prepared not only for the snow, the ice, the sleet, but the dangerously cold temperatures. And it's not just the cold temperatures that we're talking about. It is also the wind chill. By 8 o'clock this evening, Chicago, your wind chill, your feel-like temperature is going to be negative 18. Minneapolis, it's negative 28. This morning, it was closer to negative 40 for that feel-like temperature in Minneapolis. Extremely cold conditions, which is why they have that extreme cold warning that I showed you with that alert at the beginning of the forecast. By tomorrow morning, that wind chill is negative 9 in Oklahoma City, negative 10 in Kansas City, negative 11 in Chicago. Saturday afternoon, you're still feeling sub-zero. Kansas City, Oklahoma City, right at 0 in Indianapolis, 6 in Memphis, 36 in Atlanta. So very cold with that wind chill. Someone said, can you tell me about Long Island? I'm going to be completely honest with you. I haven't looked a ton of what's going on to the Northeast just because we are now in day one of kind of the plains. And then your system is going to be more Sunday into Monday. So as we get a little bit closer, my attention would be drawn a little bit more there. I do know you're probably going to get some snow. I do know that you're going to see really cold temperatures. I don't think it's going to be, the craziest cold you've ever seen in Long Island. You guys get cold pretty usually. But I would brace, especially by Sunday, to have kind of that plan that maybe be stuck at home for a day or two. Be ready to just, again, be stuck with the cold, the snow. That's really going to be something that you start to impact by Sunday, and that will carry over into Monday as well. Okay, here's a look at Sunday. By 8 o'clock in the evening, still seeing that wind chill at 6, single digits. Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Memphis, Indianapolis. You're below 0, Minneapolis. 35 in Atlanta. Atlanta's still holding strong until Monday morning. You're sub-zero for a lot of us across the U.S. Monday morning. That's when the really cold temperatures move in. Monday afternoon, you're still sub-zero in a lot of places. So Monday is going to be one of the coldest days that we've seen so far this winter, if not winters past. In some locations to the south, this is the coldest air that you've seen since 2021. So it's been 5 years. 5 years since you've seen temperatures this cold, which is why you really have to brace for it. This is Tuesday morning, that wind chill still below 0. Memphis, Indianapolis, Chicago, Detroit, Minnesota. Really cold weather. Still cold Tuesday afternoon. And then as you head into Wednesday morning, some of that colder air does start to shift more to the north, but it's still pretty chilly over the next several days. So just kind of brace for that. Brace for the really cold temperatures. You can see with our extended temperature outlook, it's going to stick around. This is valid January 28th through February 1st. So through the end of the month and into the first few days of February, look at how dark that blue is. That is saying it is off the charts for cold temperatures, well below average for this time of year. And that extends all the way through the central and high plains. It's really only the West Coast that's going to continue to be above average. But then when it comes to rainfall, at least, we will stop to see this above average pattern, this wetter than average pattern. Things are going to start to dry out. So that will be cold temperatures, but you're not talking about all these rounds of snow anymore when things do eventually start to dry out. Before we wrap up today, does anybody else have any questions? Again, I know we talked about a lot of information. It's a little bit different when it's like this. It's a little bit more informal per se, but it allows me to answer some of these questions a little bit faster. Someone says, are you going to go live Saturday? If so, will you be able to talk about Long Island? I'm not for sure yet if we will be live Saturday and Sunday. It just kind of depends on how this winter storm plays out. We will definitely be posting updates throughout the winter storm. So always a great time to follow us on all of our social media channels, X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. All of those places, make sure that you are following us because, again, we will be giving you updates, showing you what the roofing conditions are looking like, just what those roads are going to be looking like. We have people across Oklahoma, so we're going to be showing you how the totals look like in Oklahoma, other places. If people send us in pictures and videos, we absolutely love that because we want to see what it looks like in your location so we can report and let other people know. So as this winter storm starts, again, if you want to DM us the pictures and videos of what you're seeing, absolutely fantastic, helps us in our coverage, and we can continue to relay that information out to other people. So we will for sure be updating and being active on our socials throughout this weekend, throughout this winter storm. I'm not for sure yet if we will be fully live, but if we are, you'll get a notification and you'll definitely want to jump on and join us. We might be doing a short live, tomorrow morning just to talk about what's coming Saturday to Sunday and Monday at that point. But until then, again, make sure that you are following us on our X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Or if you would like a subscription with us, it is the perfect time. Again, we are almost to spring. I know it is fully winter right now. We're talking about winter weather, but that means we're just around the corner from spring being here. You want to make sure that you already have our subscription in place for when severe weather starts. You're not trying to scramble to get access to one of those hail, wind, or tornado maps. You just have it. You just have it because you already have the subscription. If you would like one, you can call us today at 855-334-4245, or you can email us at info@hailtrace.com, or you can also go to our website at hailtrace.com. Thank you guys again so much for joining us today and being able to jump on here and do this with us, even though it was a little bit more informal. Again, we will continue to have updates. I'm going to post an update this afternoon on the timeline again. So if anybody missed that today, you can follow along. And then, like I said, throughout this winter storm, we will continue to update our social media platforms. So make sure that you are following us on all of our social media platforms so you can stay updated on all the things that are happening during this winter storm. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, stay warm. And if we don't go live again between now and Monday, we will see you guys back here, same time, same place on Monday.